My name is Maggie Hays. I'm the founding community product manager for DataHub. Been on the team for about 2.5 years at this point, and this is the third time that I'm doing a year in review. And I gotta say, this is the most satisfying part of my job, to actually take the time and reflect and understand kind of all the ways that we've grown and kind of work together. I think it's easy to get kind of lost in the busyness of our day-to-day. And so I really love to take the time to kind of look back and reflect and really celebrate all of our successes. So without further ado, I put together a summary of all things DataHub community, DataHub open source project. So let's dig on into it. So just kind of thinking about who are the members of our community. We, like Miko said earlier on, we are so close to 10,000 people. We grew, we added over 40, I think it's actually like 4,300 people in 2023, which means we nearly doubled the size of our community in 12 months. I also looked into this. We have folks from 94 countries. The last time I did this, we had 56. So holy moly, that is a lot of global adoption. And needless to say, the Slack community is literally always on. So no matter where you are in the world, there's someone online that will probably be able to talk to you. In terms of our kind of the roles that people have in their day-to-day job, we see a pretty even split between data engineers and software engineers. The thing that I'm personally very excited about is this year we saw a much bigger influx of data scientists, product managers, and specifically analytics engineers. I know, of course, this is kind of a small, it's about 10% of our overall roles, but it's awesome to see that we have folks who are kind of more in the analytics engineers, kind of interfacing more with a business user. Love to see that they're here. The other thing in terms of the industries that we see within the community, this is pretty consistent with what we saw last year in terms of kind of a bias towards B2B or B2B or B2C, e-commerce, fintech, et cetera. But we actually did see a pretty big jump in the number of hospitals and healthcare companies that are coming in, as well as higher education. So like universities, but also like learning software, learning tools. So long story short, the community has exploded over the last year. I remember I joined the community when there were maybe 70 people. So when I say that this is hard for me to comprehend, I genuinely mean it is hard for me to comprehend how we've gotten this far so fast. It's outstanding. If you've joined the Slack community within the past year, you should have received a kind of onboarding survey from me in Slack. And a lot of what we ask in there is, trying to understand, why are people joining? What's bringing them here? And also, where are they in their adoption stage? That really, really helps it inform for us where we can focus our resources. So, again, we had about 4,500 people join this year, and almost a quarter of you responded to our onboarding flow to help us understand what what brought you here. So we had 1,200 people respond to it, which is just outstanding. But primarily where folks are coming in is to learn more about DataHub and also get some troubleshooting support. So that's consistent with what we kind of see from our kind of conversations or Slack activity in there. And then overall, we had about 900 people respond with their adoption stage. We do see a pretty even split between either evaluating DataHub or actually running a POC, but awesome to see that we also have a large set of folks that are either currently running in production or rolling it out to their stakeholders. So again, this is kind of consistent. This is skewed a little bit more within the community, or within this kind of new user survey, skewed a little bit more to that evaluation or POC stage. So slightly different from what we saw in our survey today. But nonetheless, I think it's very interesting. And again, it really helps us prioritize or inform our priorities on kind of our community initiatives, our developer resources, et cetera. I need to keep my eye on time because I could talk about this forever. So in terms of how we interacted in Slack, consistently we saw about 1,100 weekly active users in Slack. Like I said, Slack community is always on. We sent over nearly 80,000 messages, hard to wrap my head around that one. 8,300 emoji reactions within the year. I can confidently say that Miko and I probably made up a good 50% of that, but love to see the engagement there. The other thing is I took a look at our virtual events throughout the year, and we had 913 of you joined us in one or more of our town halls month over month, which is just fantastic to me, right? If we kind of compare that to the growth of the community, we had 4,500 people join, 913 people are joining our live events throughout the year. It's a nice kind of about 20% of folks are coming in to kind of participate in a live setting. That's fantastic. The other thing in the 913 town hall attendees, I think we had about 30% of people came back at least once. So we have a lot of repeat visitors as well. So if you're one of them, welcome back. And then, like Miko said, we had our very first DataHub Marathon. It was a tremendous amount of fun. We had 129 people join us total. That includes both the actual team and everybody from the community. And it is something that we're excited about kind of trying out again on a monthly basis. If you have suggestions or ideas there, want to have any ideas of how we can make that a better experience, we're all ears. So with our town hall events, as we just heard from the Airtel team, every month we highlight a new company who has adopted DataHub and wants to share their experience with us. Putting this graphic together, it blew my mind, just like the sheer volume or kind of like breadth of industries, but also these are companies that are working at extreme scale of data, right? These aren't like kind of mom and pop shops. Like these are companies that are solving really, really hard problems by using DataHub. And so massive shout out to all the folks that presented or kind of shared their experience with us in 2023. And if you haven't seen those sessions, they're always available on our YouTube channel, so you can go check that out. All right, let's talk contributions. So over 2023, we had 263 code contributors to our project. That is outstanding. We also, so the project's been around for a good chunk of time. I think overall, I just double checked it. I think historically or like all time, we have around 460 contributors. And so, more than half of those happened within the last year, which is just outstanding. We also merged 2,000 PRs, which again, guys, that's a lot of freaking work. So, holy cow. We did see consistently on a monthly basis between about 35 to 45 contributors. We did see a little bit of a dip in activity during the summer months, which is expected, and a little bit of a dip in the kind of holiday season, again, expected, but just a ton of activity happening there. This project moves fast. So thinking about that, what did we build this year? So looking at Q1, from a kind of UI perspective, we rolled out, and actually I shouldn't say we, the Grab team contributed a brand new or kind of improved what you see is what you get documentation experience. You can see an example of this up here where you have kind of rich highlighting or rich formatting with code blocks or various like just like the standard documentation editor experience that you would expect. That was a huge win for us and something that the community had long been asking for, and the Grab team really stepped up and made that happen for us. The other thing that we rolled out is time-aware lineage. And so you can kind of see this in the screenshot down here. This is really useful when your dependencies evolve over time, and you really just want to see, what was the state of dependencies at a given moment in history, right? So maybe you can, or just kind of like help with debugging or really inspecting what that dependency chain looks like. The other thing, so on the dev experience side of things, we had a bunch of improvements to our quick start and Docker Compose experience setup, specifically on M1 machines. I mean, I don't know if anybody has PTSD flashbacks to getting M1 up and running. That cutover was a challenge, but we got there. The other thing is that Shoshanka and Herschel rolled out DataHub Lite, which is an experimental API to make DataHub a really lightweight package on your local machine, so that you could quickly use the command line to introspect your metadata graph during development. It's something that honestly, I think we've really been kind of sleeping on a little bit. Shashanka, we should really be highlighting this a lot more because it's super impactful. But yeah, that was something that we rolled out earlier in the year. I do need to keep a track of time, so I'm going to move a little bit more quickly through this. In Q1, from an ingestion side of things, we were super focused on performance improvements, consistency in the types of metadata that we're extracting from kind of our top sources. So the net new ingestion source we rolled out was support for JSON schemas, but the bigger accomplishment that quarter, excuse me, was really supercharging a lot of our core and widely adopted ingestion sources there. So awesome work from the team on that one. In Q2, on the kind of user experience side of things, we rolled out our unified search and browse experience. This was so well received by the community. Really what this allowed for us to do is to present our search and browse experience in a single spot and make it much more intuitive on kind of the browse path side of things, intuitive in how data practitioners are familiar with actually navigating these hierarchies of entities. We also rolled out much more intuitive filtering and much more like ease of use there. The other thing on the kind of search experience, we rolled out this kind of quick filter functionality, so you can quickly filter by an entity type, or you can jump in directly to the most relevant resources to really just kind of speed up that search to discovery side of things. We also rolled out custom ownership types. This was something that was long requested, so great work there. I think that was also maybe a community contribution. I can't remember, but if it was, thank you for that contribution. And this is also the quarter where we started rolling out support for data products via YAML. We have a ton of great past sessions. If you want to learn about that, I encourage you to check out our YouTube channel to see those deep dives there. We also, on the CLI side of things, rolled out support for time series deletes for time series aspects. Those can get really large in size, so it's a great way to kind of keep your environment tidy. And then on the integration side of things, we rolled out our initial support for Unity Catalog, and then a bunch of lineage improvements and also functionality. So for one, you could start to define column level lineage via YAML. So if it's not automatically extracted from source, you can actually define that via YAML, so you can kind of manage the quality or the coverage of that much more effectively. We also rolled out lineage performance improvements to our kind of main, excuse me, our main warehouse sources, and then also stateful ingestion for a bunch of other sources as well. Moving on to Q3, we continued on the theme of making improvements to our search experience. This was a really fun one. We as a team came together for, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks, and we kind of swarmed on making a bunch of small but very impactful improvements to the search experience. So this is really just a snapshot of it all, but what you'll see is this, we moved our views, our DataHub, or like search results views, we moved that into the search bar experience to make it much more intuitive for folks to understand what filters have been applied. We also rolled out context highlighting, so you can understand, your search term, what you put in, and why is it matching. And then the big one that was long requested and we were excited to deliver was the ability to sort your results by relevance, by name, and by the time that they were last modified. On the dev experience side of things, like I said, in the earlier quarter, we were rolling out some improvements to our delete CLI for deletes. In this one, we also rolled out support, in this quarter, we rolled out support for recursive deletes. Another big one, and we sent out a survey about halfway through the year to all the community, really asking like, what resources, what's missing from the developer experience in our docs environment. And by far, we heard from many people we want version docs. So we built version docs. So on our doc site, you can always jump between our latest versions. So you can look at the docs at the time of that pin. So that was a big win across the board. On the ingestion side of things, we rolled out support for DynamoDB, but I think the biggest feat of this quarter has got to be Herschel's schema-aware column level lineage. So as folks, or as you may know, or maybe don't know, column level lineage is not automatically available out of the box for a lot of data sources. And so what Herschel built out was the ability to leverage DataHub's awareness of a data set schema, inspect a query that generated a table, and build out that column level lineage programmatically. This is incredibly powerful. It has supercharged our coverage of all of the different sources that we're able to automatically extract column level lineage. If you are interested in that one, Herschel wrote a fantastic blog post about how we built it, why we built it, all of that fun stuff. It's a great read. Highly recommend that one. And then again, on the column level lineage side, not surprisingly, it's a very complex job, a very complex process. So we started kind of fine tuning and building in some performance improvements there. All right, let's round the corner on Q4. The biggest, oh, I just realized there's a little typo there. That's great. The biggest UI or UX improvement that we rolled out and deployed in open source actually came from our feature request portal. We had a ton of folks. I think there was something like 68 upvotes on the ability to have hierarchical management of domains. So we rolled out nested domains in Q4 and really just kind of gave much more flexibility in terms of how you can create and manage those relationships of those domains. This is super helpful for folks that are for teams that are implementing data mesh. So yeah, super excited about that one. On the dev experience side of things, we shipped a ton of fixes to security vulnerabilities. If you are some of those folks who have raised those security incidents to us, thank you so much. We genuinely really appreciate folks bringing those to our attention when they're starting to impact maybe your deployment environment. So big props to the community for helping us rally around those, and big props to the platform team on Acroll side for really cranking through those. The other thing that we rolled out was initial support for data products, data contracts created and managed via YAML, CLI, and our SDK. And then last but not least, on the integration side of things, we leveraged Herschel's hard work on that schema-aware column level lineage and rolled it out to basically all of our SQL ingestion sources. And then we also snuck in some integration support for Fivetran. So that's a lot of me talking, but most importantly, that was a lot of y'all building and a lot of y'all coming together and helping each other and connecting. And I just gotta say, what a ride it's been. Oops, I can't see where Zoom went, but I'm trusting that you're still there. It has been an amazing ride. I am so honored to have this role and to be working alongside all of you guys. And I genuinely can't even begin to imagine what we're going to accomplish in 2024. So big love. I appreciate you all. I will hand it over to Miko and Shashank.